Hi, I'm Kerry.
My name's Billy.
I am Dawson.
My name is Emerson.
My name is Conley Easter.
I'm Ted.
I'm Zeke.
My name is Toli.
And my name is Alina.
From Sydney in Australia, and I have been teaching in Europe since the beginning of last year.
I'm from New Jersey, and I've been working as a teacher for about the past 4 years.
I've been teaching in Prague for about the last year and a half.
I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and moved to Prague about 3.5 years ago.
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I have been here in Prague, Czech Republic, teaching English for, it will be 9 years.
I'm a retired teacher. Oh, wait a minute, no I'm not. I'm actually teaching. That's what I'm doing here in Prague.
I'm an English teacher, and I've been teaching in Prague for about 3 years now.
My first class was actually at a summer camp in Austria. And when I got up there, I was holding my plan like it was a lifeboat. You could just see that my fingers were white, and I opened my mouth, and just as I was about to start, like my mind just went blank. I was like, am I actually qualified to do this? And the kids I was teaching were like 15 years old, and they could like obviously tell I was nervous, and one of them just blurts out, "You all know this, yes?" And I'm like, I laugh and I'm like, yeah, I am. And we were able to just like make a joke out of it, and it kind of like broke the ice between all of us.
My first experience teaching was with some students from Mexico who were in Milan on a cultural exchange. So they were all about 15, 16 years old, and they came from all over Mexico. So I admit on my first day teaching them, I was really nervous, because what is scarier than a room full of teenagers? But they were really keen on improving their language skills, and they knew the benefits of learning English and what it would do for their future.
My first lesson I taught here in the Czech Republic. I was teaching the students about dream jobs. And as soon as the word dream job goes up on the board, one of the girls just goes, "Oh." So I like immediately just got self-conscious. I paused, was like, oh my God, I thought this was gonna be a fun lesson. So I just asked them, I was like, do we not like this idea? Raise your hand if you hate this idea. And like half the class raised their hand. So raise your hand if you like this idea. No one raised their hand. So I was kind of like at a crossroads. I was like, I can either double down on this thing that they don't wanna do and now I don't wanna do, or I can try to pivot it into something different. I just crossed out dream and I just wrote weird. I was like, how do we feel about this? And they were kind of like, yeah, we're a little interested in this. And I was like, all right, give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna just move some stuff around, and just came up with really weird things. I added like cockroach farmer and snake massager, and just came up with all these weird jobs and just put them on the board and asked them like, what do you think this means? What does this kind of person do? And then I had these students just interviewing for different weird jobs like human scarecrow, and talking about why they'd be good at that and whether they would have hired each other for it.
I love my job. It is really great. It's a great community, so I'm very happy there. However, my first day teaching was a little crazy. I basically applied to this job. They looked at my resume and my cover letter and essentially hired me right away on the spot through that. But before, they had invited me to do a lesson with these high school kids that I have never met before, in front of the principal, in front of the head of the English department. So I was very stressed, I was panicking. So I was kind of going in blind. I had no idea what to expect. And so I ended up spending hours the day before making this intense lesson plan. The principal seemed amazed at the fact that I went out and did this old-fashioned paper and pen flip chart. And it ended up being piece of cake. It was a 45-minute lesson. It went by so fast. Once I got up there and was teaching in front of them, all my anxieties and fears went away. And after, actually, I had a student come up to me and say, "Sir, can I ask you a question?" And I was like, oh gosh, like what is he gonna say? Is he gonna ask me a grammar question? I was panicking because the principal was standing right there, so I was a little stressed, but he said, can I ask, how come you're such a good teacher? What makes you so good at public speaking? And I was so taken aback. I was like, thank you so much, like that is so nice. And he goes, yeah, you're so much better than all of our other Czech teachers. And he said that in front of his Czech teacher and in front of the principal, so I thought that was really funny. And definitely an ego boost for sure. So yeah, they hired me right after that lesson. I've been there for 2 months now and I'm loving it. So yeah.
My first day teaching was a bit of a shock. The school I was working at had told me that the group I was working with was a bit lower level than what they usually expect from students. So I assumed that this meant kind of high beginner level, at least A2, kind of a level where they can construct basic sentences and introduce themselves. So they told me the first day, just come to class, prepare some icebreakers, some warmer activities, get to know each other. I showed up the first day and had planned just to do a basic game of 2 truths and a lie. So on the whiteboard I had written something like, I don't know, grass is green, and was greeted by a classroom full of blank stares. So it was very clear to me that they did not understand a word of what was on the board or of what I was saying. So I was just, spontaneously trying to do this dance of showing them what these concepts were. I was drawing some grass on the board and pointing to different things in the room, telling them, okay, so this thing is red, now this one is black, and this is green. So this was definitely an experience of challenging my expectations for the level of students and also just what kinds of communication are the most effective.
Nothing could have truly prepared me for my first day. My first Czech student was a very, very friendly man, and I was really touched because he wanted to learn English to be able to speak to his daughter more. She speaks almost perfect English from school, and he was at about a B1 level. And he was worried that one day maybe his granddaughter or grandchildren might speak English better than they speak Czech, and he didn't want to lose out on that. So I was very, very happy. That was one of the first reasons that I was teaching English, was to help with that. And it's very intimidating the first time going through that. But after that, it got much easier.
It was at a summer camp, the first job I had. It was this beautiful camp location in Tabor, which is, I think it's south of here. And the surroundings were beautiful. There were farms, gigantic forests. So that was the first exposure to the Czech Republic and the beauty that it had. The children were very nice because it was summertime and all they wanted to do was sort of have fun. So there was lots of swimming and things like that. In the mornings, we had lessons, and so some of that involved some character plays, and I think that this is the most difficult part. Myself, my own personal background, I had been teaching at that point for about 20 years, and so I really kind of put myself out there to learn something new and different. And when I did my first day, I really pretended, or for me, it definitely felt like my first day, and I remembered nothing at all. But I think the best part was just sort of falling back on the getting to know you and making things fun.
I went to TLH to get a certificate so that I could teach English as a foreign language here in Prague. People were telling me about traveling and having several different lessons a day in different places. And so I promised myself I wouldn't travel. Then an acquaintance of mine contacted me, and he said, I have 2 classes that I need covered, and I have to take a bus to get there. So I met him at the metro station, and he started driving me to the laser facility where the classes were going to be. And about 15 minutes down the road, I said, you know, I kind of made a promise to myself that I wouldn't travel to teach. How much further is this? He said, it's a little ways. It's about a half an hour from the metro stop. And at the end of the day, in the car on the way back to the metro, I said, these people are delightful. I just had such a good time today. So I took the job and then got 2 more classes. So every Thursday I go out into the country and teach 4 classes of adults. They're scientists and mechanical engineers. It's an amazing experience.
The first time that I started teaching English was in 2022. I posted my own Facebook ad when I really had not much teaching experience at all. And the little boy, he's 11 years old, his father found me on Facebook and hired me through this ad. I went to his house, and the first time that I met him, we just clicked immediately. The little boy, he already felt so comfortable with me. He showed me his car collection, which his favorite car is a Lamborghini. He did a little breakdance for me. So obviously we had such a great bond from the bat, and I've been teaching him for over 3 years. We just celebrated his 13th birthday. I really feel connected to this family, and they really made me feel comfortable with teaching and confident in that.
Looking back, I couldn't have done that without the skills that the Language House gave me, especially when it comes to adaptability in those oh-no moments.
What I learnt at the Language House, which I use every day in my teaching, is to use topics that are of interest to the students so that they are engaged and they learn English just by talking and by using the language over and over and over. So that is a terrific skill that I learnt while I was at the Language House.
And I definitely would not have been able to just do that on the fly, like as comfortably, as confidently, if it hadn't been for all the training that I've gotten here at the Language House.
One way that the Language House really helped me as a high school teacher here in Prague is just the methodology that they teach you at the Language House is what I basically use in my job as a teacher in the classroom. It makes it super easy. I'm super comfortable with it. You get lots of hours of experience using these teaching methodologies at the Language House, so taking that and applying it to the real world context just makes it so much easier. So I think that really helps. Also, just the Language House does such a great job of getting you comfortable being up in front of a group of students that you've never met before, and it gives you like the experience you really do need to thrive as a teacher. So I think they really do prepare you and get you comfortable with putting yourself out there. And
something that the Language House really helped me to learn is the importance of not relying on verbal communication to elicit ideas from students or to convey the meanings of words to students. This is especially important working with these lower levels with beginners, because if you just start talking in front of a classroom full of students, they're not going to know what you're saying. Teaching, especially teaching beginners, really taught me the importance of using lots of just nonverbal cues, lots of body language, gestures, photos. I'm really grateful to have had the formation here at the Language House, which really taught us the importance of those teaching skills.
I had no clue where I was going to fit in with English teaching because it was not something I'd really considered before I took the course. And I was glad to take the course and find out that I'm not meant for classroom teaching, I'm meant for private one-on-one. And so it really helped me to feel more prepared, know who I am as a teacher before I started teaching. And so it was a very good launch pad into a new job and new life in Prague.
And I wanted to enhance my TEFL skills, and that's how I came to the Language House. And what was really great is that at that point I had so many colleagues that had gone through the Language House. I knew, like, if the chance came up to join the Language House family, I was going to take it because they had such a great reputation. And you'll meet all kinds of people. I was very impressed with the kinds of people that we met, different backgrounds that were in the class. It keeps you connected so that if you are out here without family, you will make a friendship and an extended family out here.
When I came to Prague to take the course at the Language House, I had already been teaching for 23 years. Chris, the owner, talked to me about grammar boot camp. Chris said, do me a favor, just come to the free class on Sunday morning and see what we do, and maybe it will benefit you. So I came on Sunday morning to the grammar boot camp, and I'm so glad I did. I had no idea. So one of the things that the Language House does is prepare you to answer questions about subjects you've never even thought of. I think probably for me that was the most beneficial aspect.
I wouldn't have been able to do this if I hadn't taken the Language House course in May of 2022. I got this job literally like a month and a half, 2 months after I took the course, and taking the course gave me real teaching experience, made me feel extremely comfortable because I was obviously really nervous, but I learned to make interesting and fun lessons, especially for kids. And now I teach 100% remote, and it's been 3 years, and this is a career that I love and came really naturally to me, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without the Language House.
Now, my life in Prague is amazing. I've been here 3 years. I act, film, television. I have a Czech fiance, and I love my life here. So if you're thinking about coming to Prague and doing the TEFL course, definitely say yes to everything. You'll be surprised at what you're capable of.
So if you're thinking of coming to the Language House and doing the Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate, go for it. It will be one of the best decisions in your life, and you will not regret it.
I am absolutely loving my life here in Prague. I have a dream job working with kids. I absolutely love just using the trams to get around. It's super affordable, the food is amazing, and as someone who loves live music, there's so much of it here. So I would say if you have some part of you that's telling you to come and do this, especially some quiet part of you telling you that you need to come and do this, take the leap and come and do it. It's indescribable how just magical this whole experience is being out here.
Yeah, if you're thinking about teaching abroad, I would highly recommend coming to the Language House. It will give you the foothold you need in this whole teaching world and give you the confidence you need to set off on your own experience of teaching and traveling the world.
If you have any thoughts to come here, if you have any decisions you need to make, you've got to take that leap of faith.
Yeah, this was something that brought me so much joy, and it was really the best decision I ever made, and it was a very spontaneous decision. I only contacted the Language House about 3 months before I moved here.
So my only advice to you, if you're thinking about taking the course at the Language House in Prague, is don't wait. My only regret was not doing it earlier. It is an excellent program and I had such a great time doing it. I really hope you'll join us here.